Hello and welcome to Fantasy Football Weekly episode 10, and my goodness, is there some things to discuss tonight. Welcome whether you're listening on iTunes and potentially you've picked it up through Soundcloud, or you may be watching us with the old school YouTube video. Make sure you go and follow us at Twitter at FFW Weekly. And welcome, Fletchy, as usual. At last, I beat you on a game week. Get in there. But how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, finally, mate, finally. No, I'm doing good. These Fletchy's winners hitting a solid 64 again. Dooley, how are you feeling after that Rooney disaster?
Yeah, it's not been a great week at all for me. I wish I'd never made that Rooney transfer, but yeah, you've got to deal with the hand that you get given. So it's not great, but it's about how you fix the problems that you've got in your team. So, but yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? But here's to the next week. Let's forget last week and move on to next one.
Sounding very low in there at the moment.
Well, when your captain's gone off with an eye missing almost, it's hard. But yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, I am happy to be here. I wish I had a few more points in the bag though.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, top score from Tomos Galacticos, obviously out of us three, hit 69 points. And Mr. Harry Kane, all of my defence of the boy just came home. And I tell you what, it was much needed. I was ready to book myself into clinics, I think, had he blanked again. I didn't captain him, sort of was umming and ahhing all week. And I just decided to go with the slightly, which I felt was safer route of Kun. And actually it ended up being slightly the wrong decision because Kane did slightly outscore him, obviously. But I was very, very pleased that Kun still delivered the goal assist and managed to pick up 2 bonus points. So yeah, finished on 69 points. My third striker was Firmino, who blanked, flopped, and I'll be discussing him a little bit later. That's probably my biggest headache out of it. But yeah, still only managed to beat you by 5 points, Fletch. I thought it was going to be more, to be honest. You finished on 64. You seem to get quite fortunate when I looked at your side. Obviously, Jesus didn't start, and then how did you feel? Because that was obviously the start of your game week, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it's very fortunate when Carroll comes in for 2 points. You're not giving me enough credit in there right now, I don't think. My squad is solid. Most teams I'm looking at, their bench is absolute fodder. These Fletcher's winners are strong in most areas, I'd say, right now. 64-point game week. I went in without, obviously, Kane. Didn't have Kun, didn't have Lacazette, didn't have Morata. Obviously, last week I was talking about possibly bringing in Sanchez for a -4. Decided against it. I was looking at shipping Ali and King for multiple options, but decided just to stick with them two. And then I was going to captain Salah. And it basically worked out for me. De Gea picking up another cleanie for me. Koscielny again. Ben Mee chipping in. Even my two, Gross and Richie produced me nothing. And obviously Salah, Ali, and obviously Lukaku again stepping up. So yeah, 64 points. Really, really pleased because I was fearing this game week a little bit with obviously Jesus not starting. So very, very pleased. 2 free transfers. And I haven't minus yet this season, and I'm still top of all mini leagues. So really happy in these Fletcher's winners camp right now.
Yeah, I would think you are, because honestly, when I saw that obviously you hadn't made the move to Aguero, you're stuck with Jesus, you hadn't brought Kane in, and obviously now looking back at the game week, Morata hitting it big, Lacazette hitting it big, and you didn't have any of them, and you still scored just only 5 points less than me. Yeah, it's a little bit concerning. I think you've picked up some solid points, like you say, around these clean sheet areas with De Gea, Koscielny, and it's just sort of boosted your score up with little sixes here and there, hasn't it, really? You captained Salah, didn't you? So obviously you got the early goal in that game. When I wasn't watching the game, but when I saw it on the alert that he'd scored, I thought, as if his Salah shout has come off two weeks running.
Well, I did say last week that I thought he was, a must. And I don't know if you've seen the highlights, but he missed basically an open goal before his goal. A little bit quiet second half. Sturridge came on and was greedy as usual. And even the third goal, he could have easily played in Salah, but he obviously played in Henderson, who finally got the goal. But very, very pleased. Very pleased.
Okay, Dooley. So Kev mentioned Rooney. You captained him, and you was looking in dire straits. But the Arsenal game sort of made it half respectable for you, didn't it? To be fair.
Yeah, that's sort of been the story of the last couple of weeks, really. 2 weeks ago, I was praising Lukaku and Valencia for saving my game week, and then this week I've got Lacazette and Kolasinac, who's saved my week again. I took out Mooney, who wasn't playing. He didn't play last week, and replaced him with a striker that should have been scoring at the weekend.
Should have been.
Well, look what happened when Rooney comes off, and is it Naesi? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he come on and tore them apart. But look, am I unlucky that Rooney got smashed in the eye? Maybe. There could have quite easily been a penalty from that. And who takes penalties at Everton? Is it Sig? Is it Rooney? I don't know. I could have had a penalty out of that, and it'd have been a different story. The thing is, going to sleep on Saturday night, I wasn't even that upset about Rooney. It's just one of those things, we've all had it where captains don't do nothing, and it was a story. That was the story of my day. But I was more annoyed about Alonso going off in 59 minutes. That hurt more than Rooney blanking. I can take a player getting injured and then coming off, but Conte obviously doesn't play FPL, bringing off his clean sheet defender at 59 minutes. That really hurt.
Have you seen the highlights? You saw like a couple of dodgy tackles he put in, and obviously just got booked, and possibly could have gone, to be honest, for that second one straight after the yellow. It could have quite easily gone, but it would have been nice for him just to get another 30 seconds on the clock, and then I'm smiling at another 5 points in the bag, and then I've hit over 50. But hey, it's one of those things, and it happens to probably every fantasy football manager over the course of the season, where one of their players gets bought off early and they lose points as a result of that. But yeah, that Alonso 59-minute substitution hurt a lot. Yeah, I wonder how many people just went straight onto the site and just transferred him out immediately. £7 million worth of defender, and you pretty much expect points from him every week, don't you, for that price? I mean, you take the odd blank on the chin, but like you say, when everyone else in that back line's picking up a clean sheet, I also had him, and it stung too, to be honest. And we'll come into my Firmino discussion later, because I've now got a feeling it might be time to ship him, to be honest. But we'll come back to that. So what's your thoughts on Rooney then, just very, very quickly? Obviously we haven't heard about this cheap moment. He'd probably be okay for next week. I assume you're holding, because they're at home again, aren't they? You're going to captain him again? Rooney's gone. Really? The problem is the guy that replaced him. He scored, and is Rooney now a rotation risk? Obviously, he's gone. Was it 3 or 4 games without a goal now? And he's a yellow flag now, isn't he? So is he going to play? Is he going to get rested? Who knows? They got Europa League midweek as well.
Can I guess your replacement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Andre Gray.
No, that's not.
No,
I've gone for a little bit of a more sturdy third option striker, and that is Jamie Vardy.
Oh yeah, nice.
Looking at Leicester's fixtures, I want to be on Vardy. He's scored.
Did you have the money for that?
Yeah. I've made one transfer, and it's literally Rooney to Vardy. Look, I wanted to stay with Rooney, and I was praising him last week about how look at these fixtures, and he's gonna hit the ground running again after some tricky fixtures. But look, he's got a yellow flag next to his name. He's potentially not playing. He's got Europa League long trips and what have you. And like I said, the guy that replaced him on Saturday, he could quite easily start on the weekend. So Rooney's a headache now, and that's the problem. It looked great, it didn't work out, and rather than sitting on a player and him not doing anything, I've gone guns blazing and got rid of him straight away. And I think that's kind of the way you have to be this season, is not hold players too long. Yeah, no, well, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think everyone because he's highly owned as well, and I know a couple of other people in our FFW league also captained him. So yeah, a lot of people would have been angry with him. It sounds like a bit of an anger transfer, but I can see exactly why you've done it, to be honest. What's your thoughts on him bringing in Vardy then, Fletch?
I think it's a nice move. I probably would have waited till Friday. I don't know if Vardy's gone up in price since then, but I would have maybe waited to see if Rooney's playing Thursday, because Burnley at home, it's a nice fixture. I think Rooney starts.
Yeah, the main reason I made an early transfer is to try and get on any price rise that Vardy might get. Obviously, I think they've got. I think you look at their fixtures; they've got 5 really nice fixtures coming up, and I thought he'd see a price rise quite quickly. So that's the reason I made it. It wasn't a snap decision, and hopefully it'll pay off. But I just wanted to get on a potential price rise quite early.
When did you make that move?
This afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Obviously, Rooney's not owned by a lot of people, and he's probably not going to get. He's probably not going to come down in price. But I just didn't want to sit on Rooney, so quick transfer out. Vardy's in.
Yeah,
fair play. So, on a more positive note from yourself, Dooley, because you're the only one out of us 3 that have got Lacazette in place, and he hit his first brace to the season and picked up his first bonus points, collecting the 3-point bonus. I mean,
also he's now on pens.
Yeah, correct. It really raises his stock, doesn't it, to be fair? So, Fletch, I mean, you was discussing last week, Sanchez is maybe your man. You didn't bring him in this week. Does that really detract you further from bringing Sanchez in? Does that affect him? Because obviously Sanchez was taking the pens last year. Lacazette's now looking worthy at the price, would you say?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I watched the game last night. I was very, very disappointed with Sanchez. I thought his body language again was shocking. Arguing with the ref in the first half, got booked. Okay, took like three free kicks, and obviously hit the bar, and then Lacazette scored. But yeah, at 11-9, I'm certainly not going to be looking at Sanchez now. For me, I just think he just looks all wrong for me. Lacazette, yeah, very, very impressed. Still get taken off again. I know it was on 83, but I'd still, the boy surely wants a hat trick. It's not great, Wenger, is it?
Yeah, you make a great point. He's not played 90 yet, I think. I checked his minutes earlier. He's often getting pulled off even before 80, isn't he? 70 odd, which is so frustrating as an owner. Dooley, are you happy to take that sort of lack of minutes on the chin and hold on to him, especially with their sort of kind fixtures coming up?
Yeah, look, it doesn't really matter how many minutes he's playing. If he's getting a brace and he's still in it and he's been taken off, it's not really an issue. Like I said, he's absolutely saved my game week with that brace, and look, it's the reason I've got him in there, and it's something like 10% of the game own him. He is a differential. Obviously, he's not a cheap differential, but he is. He's hitting braces, and I'm happy to have him in there. Obviously, I could have a Harry Kane and be £2 million worse off. But look, I'm happy to be on Lacazette, and that's the reason I brought him in. And like I said, he's likely to be in my team till the end of the season.
Cool. That's a bold statement.
Obviously, there's a lot to be said about what happens when Sanchez is fully back. I don't mean playing bit parts in games and what have you, but I think obviously, like you said, he's on penalties now. He looks a real option. And his movement has been great all season so far. He's been, well, I don't really know if he has been unlucky. He just hasn't had a lot of service. But yeah, I'm more than happy to be on him for the rest of the season at this rate. He's ranking up points, and that's all that matters.
Obviously, anyone that hasn't got Lacazette, if they also don't have Morata, they're pretty much identical prices, aren't they? Morata went up to 10-3, I think, last night, maybe. He's hitting hatties at the weekend. I didn't watch the game live. I watched the highlights. He could have had 4 or 5, couldn't he, in the end, to be honest. Now, you're not going to play against Darren Fletcher at centre-half every week.
Come on, give the boys some credit for that finish. Christ almighty.
If I'm Darren Fletcher, that's enough for me to. Fair enough, I'm not a centre back, but it might be time to hang up the boots at the end of this season. I think my 1-year-old son can run faster than he did.
I'm sorry, but that second goal was a top finish.
Morata looked busy, didn't he? And literally, it was all of the highlight reel was just involving Morata. And I'd be lying if I now said I wasn't looking at him. And I also don't have Lacazette, and Morata for me would be the standout option out of them two. I really, really like the look of him now. I think Conte trusts him up there now as well, and he's certainly getting a few more minutes. He seems less likely to get pulled now, doesn't he, than what he did obviously when he was being eased in. Fletch, he plays for your football team. You don't have him in your side. I know you well enough to know you will be looking at him big time at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm looking at him big time. I think he's a class act, considering you absolutely ridiculed the guy from Charity Shield from Charity Shield onwards. I watched Monday Night Football, obviously, before the game. They were chatting about him yesterday, and they were saying that second goal, that movement just to change his body, and then obviously beat Butland from that angle. Yes, top class. Yeah, I think I'm still going to sit and wait because he's such a nice price. Even if he went up to, say, 10.5, 10.6, I'd still be comfortable paying it. I don't know if any of the viewers saw Conte's press conference on Friday, but he was really bigging up Batshuayi, saying that he's a lot fitter than last season. So that sort of, I know we've got some tough, we've got Roma away coming up, Madrid away coming up this week. I still think that Batshuayi could start some league games. I don't know what your thoughts on that is. I still think when those games keep coming thick and fast, I still think Morata could get benched now and again in the league. But saying that, I've got a Jesus who didn't play a minute for the same price, so it shouldn't really be affecting my decision on that. But yeah, he's looking the real deal. I can't see any reason why I'm not putting him in, really. I just think...
you just mentioned Jesus. I think it's probably a great opportunity to go on to him. I know we touched on it at the start. He didn't play a minute, and Aguero obviously played the full game. What's your gut feeling now on Jesus? And what would you be advising other people do if they've got him?
Well, I now regret not taking him out on Saturday. Obviously, it's easy to say that now because every striker under the sun's hit a brace, but and obviously I expected Jesus to maybe come on for 20-25 minutes and maybe bag a goal for us, but I'm going to keep him long term. I think with these two home games coming up, obviously Chelsea away, I still think City are capable of 1 or 2 goals there, so I'm going to leave him in. I'm going to see how he does in the 2 home games, then assess after then. So that's my plan City wise. Because obviously the Aguero price now is at 11.7.
Yeah, you're right. He's got up 0.3, hasn't he? Because he was at 11.4 at one stage. So yeah,
I think that's now getting out of reach for me. What I'd be comfortable paying if he goes to 11.8, 11.9. I don't think Aguero will be in my side this season. That's a very bold comment, but I think it's too much.
It is. But you're talking about exchanging him for Jesus, presumably, not a double up?
Yes. Yeah. I'd be more comfortable keeping Jesus at 1.3 or 4 cheaper. Or, if Aguero is up to the 11.9 regions, then I'd probably rather a Kane at 12.5.
Yeah, sure. And you've got to now expect that at some point Kun is going to get his rest. The shoe could be... So. Yeah, I mean, I've got Aguero now, but you have to be realistic. The shoe's going to be on the other foot, isn't it? And it will probably swing him roundabouts. I do think Aguero will play more minutes over the course of the season, but Jesus has proved he can do it in less minutes, hasn't he? So, yeah, I can understand why you'd be keeping him. Dooley, I know you've got a class act in there as your Man City cover, which is Fernandinho, the guy that obviously wasn't involved in any of the 5 goals at the weekend. Are you now scratching around to bring in a potential, emerging midfielder in a Sane, a Sterling, a Silva, or anyone like that, or are you going to stump up the cash and get a big boy in?
I think at the moment I'm not too bothered about the big boys in midfield. Other than Salah, KDB, Eriksen, Ali, who I've already got. There's not a great deal of midfielders, expensive midfielders, who are doing it consistently. Maybe you might add a Pogba and a Mkhitaryan to that, but they've not done a great deal the last couple of games, have they? Look, I'm happy with a cheap midfield at the moment. Obviously, it's not paid off this week. Decore not doing anything, Fernandinho not doing anything. But if you watch the game, Fernandinho, he should have scored. He was point blank range and should have scored within the first 15 minutes. Obviously he didn't, and I've only got 3 points out of him. But yeah, I am happy with my midfield, even though they're not giving me that many points. I don't think there's that many fantasy managers that are picking that many points up from their midfield, unless you've got unless you've got the likes of Gross, who you got on early. You know,
Ali.
I mean, of course, I've got Ali, and I was happy when Ali got his 2 assists.
So for these 2 City home games coming up after Chelsea, are you planning? If you wanted a Kun or a Jesus or a De Bruyne, how can you fund that? Or are you happy going in with your no City cover?
Well, it's sod's law, isn't it? I had KDB at the beginning of the season, and he did absolutely nothing, and was quick to get rid of him. The week I got rid of him, he didn't do anything, and I was happy about that. But since then, he's hit form.
Have you got any plan for these 2 home games?
For the 2 home games at the moment, the plan is Fernandinho. But obviously, the plan is in action. And if things do go wrong this week, it will be a wild card.
Get the boss on the phone. He's got a wild card coming out.
My plan was always to go into sort of game week 7 or 8, thinking about using my wild card depending on where I was in respective leagues. And you know, I have dropped points this week, but I've not dropped as many as I thought I would have dropped. You know, obviously thanks to Lacazette and Kolasinac, but. Yeah, the plan was always a possible game week 8, game week 7 wild card, and I don't mind using it. You know, there's a lot of people that are below me, that are quite a way below me, that have already used their wild card. So, you know, if I have to use my wild card to bring in an Aguero, then so be it. But yeah, Aguero scares me. And not having an Aguero scares me. Not having a Kane doesn't scare me at all. But not having Aguero scares the life out of me. But it does everybody, right? It's Aguero, and he can score 4 or 5 goals if he wants. But
yeah, I have to admit, I was obviously waiting to see if Jesus was coming on. That last 20 minutes, where goals were flying in, and obviously Aguero just got the goal assist, and I realised they'd made the 3 subs. I was really fearing that last 20 minutes because I was thinking, cool, there could be a hattie there for him. Now, I don't know if anyone's seen the Aguero goal. That header, how Hennessy has not saved it. It's a disgrace, to be honest. And it's very, very fortunate for Kuno.
Yeah, listen. Palace are a poor side, but I tell you what, Hennessy is a poor keeper, isn't he? He really is. I think when you look at the standard of keepers we've got in this league, Hennessy is about as bad as it gets for me.
I'm quite a big fan of Hennessy, but not anymore.
I think the scoreline doesn't reflect quite how well Palace did play for the first half an hour. They did play well.
I was sat in Irish bars with a pint of Guinness, and I was watching the first half, obviously with Kun captain. And at half time, I was calling the Irish barman over and getting a straight whiskey. I tell you what, I was very, very nervous at half.
Really?
You're right. Well, Palace not only weren't even really sitting that deep, they were actually causing a little bit of a problem up top. And I was thinking, this is looking very, very relaxed from these City boys. Let's put them away early. But they came good in the second half. Thank goodness. And actually, there was a screen in the back of the bar that had the United game on. And obviously, I was in there with Yo-Yo Moleman, and I said to him, right, we just want Lukaku blanks, don't we? Literally, as I've said that to him, I turned around and I've seen the dog running away, celebrating. And I'm thinking, yeah, this has gone from bad to worse. But it was a really entertaining game week. I thought. I didn't have Morata, he did have him, and there's some big scores. I know what you're saying, Dooley, about you sort of got out of jail, but a lot of people were hitting like 80 points, weren't they? A couple of the boys will come to it later. Top scorer in game weeks of 93 points. That is a big score. And I think this week and last week, the average point score has been so high. It just seems to have been a lot of clean sheets contributing towards that. And, Fletcher's testament to that with his sort of half decent score. I mean, I hit a Kane brace and a 3-point bonus, an Aguero goal assist, 2-point bonus. And a lot of people then also had a third big hitting striker up there, and I've still underscored by like 20-30 points against some people. It's incredible, to be honest. It's really, really good management I'm seeing in our league at the moment, to be honest, with some good solid scores.
I think you'll find that a lot of the people that scored quite big this week are the ones that have used their wild cards and the ones that
I think you're right
in the leagues. You know, the people that started the season, you know, Fletcher, you know, prime example, haven't got Aguero, haven't got Kane. And yes, the people with Kane and Aguero have scored big this week, but they've lost points from, in particular, Kane throughout the course of the season so far.
The key point in this game is you need to know your captain. I've done that a lot this season now. After these Salah hauls, I've had Lukaku as well. You know, this is the fundamental part of the game. You have to know your captain. If you don't know your captain, you're not going to be rising.
I mean,
week in, week out, are you?
You're joking that I've had a bad week this week, but you know, if I'd have captained Lacazette this week,
exactly,
I'd have outscored Tomo this week. And look, he's got Aguero and Kane. That's how close these things can be when you pick the right captain.
Yeah, I mean, it can save your game week, can't it? Everything else can flop when you hit that and you nail it on the head. I think you've only had Ali blanks, haven't you, Kev? Away at Everton, is that right? Have you had another captain that's flopped?
I was very unlucky in that game, and I know I keep bringing it up, but 3 goals. No, I had the Lukaku missed pen where he had
the 0.
Apart from that, I think I've nailed everyone. So 4 in 6, 4 in 6, I think, which is pretty good going.
Yeah, fair dues. Just one guy I wanted to throw into the mix. He's not on my radar, but I think if people are looking at a budget striker, this old Brighton boy, Hemed, obviously hit the goal, 3-point bonus, only 5 mil. Well, you know, you're not going to get anyone cheaper than that that's starting. Would you consider looking? I know you've got Gross, so you're never going to double up, but just, you know, if anyone else is looking at him, would you be advising Fletch that someone could jump on him?
Well, I didn't watch the game on Sunday, but the FA have looked into a stamp. I don't know if any of you boys have seen it. So there's a possible charge for him. So, no, I'd be staying well clear. But he looks a handful at the price, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Maybe, wait to find out what's happened there. But for a third striker option, was he 4.95 mil?
I think he's 5. I don't think he's dropped at all.
Yeah, it's a really nice price. But obviously, if anyone's looking at him, just wait to find out what's going on with this FA charge.
Yeah, good information. Okay, one guy that I want to talk about was King. You brought him in last week and it stunk up the place, didn't it, really, the move? You brought him in for Brighton at home, blanked, and you said to me, to your credit, we was messaging on WhatsApp or whatever, and you said, no, I'm going to keep him in at Everton. I think there's something there for him. He hit a brace there last year and he popped up with a really nice finish, to be honest.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest buzz of the weekend. You know, I love my differentials, and the fact that no one and his dog would have him. I was really, really buzzing at that. Could have easily had an assist if the foe had stuck an easy chance away as well. He's Leicester at home next, which is nice. I think Bournemouth have got to be up for it after that late defeat. I think Bournemouth, I think there's 2 goals there for him. I really do. I think long term, he's probably gone for me after that Leicester game. But like I say, if the boy hits a brace, he could be staying. Because if you look at King's return last season, he was scoring at all the tough grounds away from home, wasn't he?
He scored 16 goals.
He was scoring a lot. So, you know, he scored 16 goals last season. Okay, he was probably playing further forward in some of those games, so he is playing slightly deeper than now Defoe's in there. But I just had a gut feeling about him. I think he was a little bit unlucky in the Brighton game, 2 goals not involved. But yeah, very, very pleased.
I think especially if people are holding Firmino, which I am, and if you've got no money in the bank and you're looking for, you know, a downgrade, he's at home this week, and I don't think their fixtures are too bad, are they, moving forward?
They got Spurs away after Leicester and then Stoke away. But the thing with Bournemouth they are capable of scoring anyway. You don't need them to win the game. You just need a goal. I think Defoe and King are worthy. I do. But we'll have to see how Bournemouth are going to perform over the next few weeks because they're not playing very well at the moment, are they?
No, and to be honest, I watched the highlights. They was a bit unlucky, weren't they? Wheels sort of came off in the last few minutes, didn't they, against Everton? They played quite well up until that point. And had Defoe stuck his chance away, they would probably have been in control there. Yeah,
I think that Niassa, he looks like the sportiest player who's ever played in the Premier League.
He doesn't look like a footballer.
You know, the ball just rebounded right to him. Basically, he's like on the goal line, just incredible stuff. Decent celebration, running away. What's your thoughts on Daniels? Because you benched him, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, to be honest. And I always, when I brought him in, my plan was always to rotate him home and away with Ben Mee, because Bournemouth and Burnley have got a really nice home and away rotation, and that has actually stung me, because and I was doing it with Brady also with Atsu, so they was going to sort of rotate home and away, and it stung me 2 weeks running now. I left the Brady assist away at Liverpool on the bench last week, and obviously the Daniels assist away. I mean, I know Daniels is one of them, people probably would say never bench him because he is capable of doing it home and away. He'll be starting for me this week, obviously, at home against Leicester. Slightly disappointing, yeah, have to be honest.
Yeah, because obviously I had him and I benched him for the City goal, which hurt, which is probably the reason why I shipped him. Because I do think he's one who can really perform anywhere. It's just you're not comfortable playing him every week, but it's a nice price. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is a tough one, and to be honest, now you highlight it. I've not really got him in for the clean sheets because I know Bournemouth don't really keep him. So I'm sort of going against my plan there by benching him away, because I know he can do it. But I started a back three of Alonso, Jones, and Mee. Obviously, Mee produced with the clean sheet.
Yeah.
Alonso, in hindsight, it would have been better had I played Daniels. But listen, had I played Daniels and started Alonso on the bench, you know what would have happened? Alonso would have spanked in a free kick, and I would have had Spurs away the same way you did when Alonso was on the bench. So yeah, it was a bit of a tricky one. Be interested to see what other people do with Daniels. So obviously, if anyone else has got him, love to see if you play him week in, week out.
So what's your sorry to interrupt. What's your plans for Alonso then? Because obviously I shipped him last week basically to try and raise some cash in my squad. And it looks like you're possibly going down that route yourself.
There's only one way that I can upgrade Firmino. That is only one way that I would consider, should I say, because I'm looking at the rest of my side. There's nowhere else I can free up value. And obviously, the Vardy shout for Firmino to Vardy, I think, would be a worthy one. I think Dooleys pulled out a good option there. However, I just like the look of Morata, and someone I wanted to discuss in a minute, got a plum home fixture, is Lukaku. So I've got a front three at the moment of Kane, Aguero, Firmino. Firmino's obviously not doing it. Ideally, I would upgrade him. Would I want to upgrade him for a -4 hit, and in the meantime downgrade Alonso? Not so sure. So probably my current situation is to hold the transfer and then give him one more week and then make 2 moves over the international break. That's what I'd like to do. Ideally, then downgrade Alonso to about a £5 million defender, something like that. And then that gives me the scope to potentially bring in a Morata, say, for Firmino. And I know a lot of people will be going that route. Maybe not that exact front line, but following last weekend, I think a lot of people will be bringing in 3 big hitting strikers now. I speak to people all week about what they're doing. I know a lot of people have got Lukaku, Kane, Aguero. And obviously now Morata will be heavily on people's radars. So I could see that being a familiar trend, and I could be inclined to go down that route before. Last season, I took Firmino out after 2 or 3 blanks, and then he hit a brace in the week I took him out, and I'm just having flashbacks of that happening again now. And I think Newcastle was actually quite a nice fixture for him, depending on what happens midweek, obviously with Champions League. I think Firmino might be due something this weekend, so I might just hold for 1 more week, and as a result, Alonso would probably stay. You don't have Alonso, do you, Dooley?
I do. I have Alonso, yeah.
Oh, of course. Sorry, his Fletcher doesn't have him. Are you going to be holding him, or are you just going to make 1 move?
I don't really see a reason to be getting rid of Alonso. He's getting clean sheets, albeit last week he didn't get a clean sheet, but technically it was a clean sheet. I don't see a reason to be getting rid of Alonso. I don't see how much more value you're going to get from an attacking defender. Yes, they've got City up next, isn't it?
Yeah.
He'll probably be sitting on my bench, and yes, it's a lot of defensive money to be sitting on my bench. But other than that City game, I don't see any reason to be getting rid of him.
You've got to play him. Look at what Fletch did earlier in the season. He benched him away at Spurs, and the guy hit 2 goals. It's so dangerous to bench him anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, that is true. To be honest, I mean the options I have are: do I play Alonso or do I play Fernandinho? I'm going to be playing Alonso, aren't I guess.
You should be. Yeah.
Yeah. that's the only sticking point in the next couple of fixtures for Alonso is this City game.
Yeah.
And is it really that much of an issue? Well, no. If he doesn't keep a clean sheet, he might well pop up with an assist or a goal because he is worthy of it. So I think if you're getting rid of Alonso now, I don't really know why you'd be getting rid of Alonso now, other than to.
I think it's just it's value. Yeah, it's value, isn't it? It's because you look at him on 7 mil, and I think I could do something with that 2 mil now. These forward boys, the 10, 11, 12 million pound forwards, are now justifying their price tag following last weekend. Obviously, you got to get the right front three in, and I think that's probably why I'm looking at it thinking that's where I can nick a couple of million. I'll probably get burnt on it because you know how these games work. You take him out, and that's the week he hits another goal or whatever. But I reckon a lot of people will be taking Alonso out this week. I haven't seen the transfers out, but I would think he's going to be a big transfer out, people using the money. But listen, I wanted to touch on Lukaku because he's one that's worrying me this week, obviously. I know his ownership's about 50 or 60%, something stupid like that. And I would assume everyone that's got him will be captaining him this week. I know you both do own him. And normally we talk about captains at the end, but I thought I'd just chuck it in the hat because obviously to go into this game week without Lukaku is looking a little bit risky because Palace look like they could get knocked for 3s, 4s and 5s quite easily. If you didn't have him, would you be bringing him in? And I'll pose the question to you, Fletch. Is he your captain this weekend?
No, I'm going Salah.
3 weeks on the trot.
No, I'm joking. Of course I'm going Lukaku. I love it. Yeah, Lukaku. I fancy him. I fancy him big time. I tell you what, you're going to be looking very nervous come Saturday, 4 o'clock. Very nervous. The guy's performing. I think he's getting a little bit spawny. Every shot he has seems to rebound straight back to him. He just puts it in. But that's a good goal scorer, isn't it? Someone who puts the ball away. It's a nice fixture. I think Palace, I think they might go for it a bit more. They sat back against City, lost 5-0. Surely they're not going to do the same again. I think there's 3 or 4 for United there. I really do. Might be tight early doors, but if I didn't have Lukaku this week, I would be nervous. But hopefully I can reap some of the, people got Aguero captain last week, hopefully. Because if you don't have Lukaku, okay, people might be comfortable going Kane captain after the brace at West Ham, but I think Lukaku's standout pick this week.
Yeah, he is. Not on penalties would be a slight negative for me, but I think that genuinely my thoughts at the moment are I'm not going to go with Lukaku. I'm not going to bring him in because it would take me a -4 to do so, and I don't really want to do that this week. I would probably be captaining Kane, but I've got Mkhitaryan in place, and okay, I'm hiding behind the sofa with Mkhitaryan basically because I'm just praying that he can maybe be involved in a couple of them goals or maybe get one himself, Yeah. So I certainly wouldn't captain a Mkhitaryan, but that's probably the way I would go. And I know a lot of people in the last 2-3 weeks have taken Lukaku out, so it'd be very interesting. I was obviously Yo-Yo, as I mentioned, who was on a previous podcast and sort of co-hosting. He was talking about potentially doing a move where he's going to juggle around his big hitters. Now, obviously, Aguero's just hit a goal assist, but he was actually toying with taking out an Aguero this week to bring in a Lukaku, obviously for no hit, and then reverse the transfer next week. What do you think about that policy, Dooley?
I think it's a really good way of going. Obviously, if your teams play, if you've got, listen, you can do that if you've got no headaches elsewhere in your team. If you're comfortable with your team, other than how many points your strikers are picking up, then by all means rotate your strikers around. But there's a lot of people out there that have got headaches in midfield, that have got headaches in defence, that have got genuine headaches up top, like me this week. But look, yeah, if that's your biggest headache is, do I want to play Lukaku or do I want to play Aguero, then you must be doing really well this. Oh wait, yeah, Yo-Yo's not doing very well, is he?
Yeah.
Look, it's a nice plan. It is a nice plan, but. Look, one week you're going to get an injury, and then you're stuck, with an Aguero who might not do something that week. But look, if you've got Aguero in your team, he could score anywhere. So I don't think the plan's that bad. But are you wasting a transfer? I don't know. If I could do it, I wouldn't personally be doing it. But if people want to do it, I think fair play. But yeah, it shows somebody who hasn't got many headaches in their team if you're doing that every week.
Yeah, your side's got to be in good shape, I think, isn't it, to do that? Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what people do. I know a lot of people have got Morata, Aguero, Kane now, so they've also got the headache. I assume they're just going to, hide behind the sofa with their other United asset, and I assume they've got Mkhitaryan, to be honest, if they haven't got Lukaku. Moving on, anyway, I wanted to talk about midfield, like sleepers, if you like, because a few emerged at the weekend. I mentioned them earlier, Sterling and Sane, getting the starts in really, really high offensive positions, relatively low ownership, particularly Sane, because we've been so unsure as to whether they're going to get the minutes. Chuck another couple of names in there. Coutinho, obviously low ownership and has now scored a good free kick. Fletch, what's your thoughts on those boys and anyone else that's emerging for you that's maybe worth looking at the moment?
My thoughts are, I don't know how people are going to afford all these, Coutinho's when they've got the front three, which I'm seeing around. I know we're going off the striker topic, but I know you said about people going in with the power front three. Not for me. I think it completely unbalances your squad massively. This game is more complex than just picking the three best strikers in the game. For me personally, yeah, you have maybe two big hitters and a cheaper third striker for me. That's the way I've always played it, and I don't see that changing. Just a little bit of advice from Fletchy's winners there, but I think if you're going in with Kane, Kun, Lukaku, Morata, it just doesn't leave you any cash to play with, does it? You can have very, very cheap defenders, and I've been looking at cheap defenders. It's really, really tough to even pick one or two at the moment. It's the 6 mil, 5.5 defenders are really, really nailing it. I know we're going on to defenders later, so I'll move on to your point you just said. Sane, yeah, he's looking impressive. I'm not sure I'd bring him in. I just think this City's a minefield. I've got Jesus. I just think it's enough. Sterling looked impressive again. Could have 3 or 4. Coutinho, nice free kick, but I've got Salah. I think he's the cover. So I think I've got people in place that, that I'm happy with, rather than, making transfers and bringing in people that, have done it now, but are they going to be consistent? I'm not sure. I'd want to see more.
Yeah, the midfielders where I'm looking around in the leagues, Fantasy Football Weekly League. A lot of people have got Salah. Basically, everyone that's, looking at it pretty consistently, I would say, he's got him in now.
That's because everyone's listening to me. That's why.
Listen, Mkhitaryan I've seen a lot of, and then Ali and potentially Eriksen. And another point that we could go into. A lot of people, when I sort of talked about them City options, I sort of got Dooley in mind here for maybe people that are brave enough to not go with an Aguero and a Jesus and potentially bring in a couple of midfield assets. Arsenal is one that springs to mind, with Ramsey obviously hitting the assist, and he's a bit cheaper, 7 mil, I believe. So, Dooley, would that be a viable tactic? Would you look at doing something like that? We won't go over City again. We know you love Fernandinho, but listen, maybe a Ramsey potentially at the price as a low differential. Would he be someone that you'd look at?
I think this season it's very much about your budget midfielders and spending your cash on your strikers and your defence. I know. Do you
think Fletchy's wrong with the front three, saying that you shouldn't have 3 big hitters? Do you think he's got it wrong?
I don't think you should not have 3 big hitters. Obviously, yeah. Look at last week; it helped. But like I said, the people that have all of those 3 strikers are pulling themselves back up from the gutters almost. I mean, of course, there's people that will be up there and around the top that have got those 3, but. Look, you don't need 3 big hitters at the top. Like you said, the Brighton striker, Vardy, who, yes, he's 8.5 or something now. You don't need to be spending 10, 12 each on your strikers. But I do like the look of having cheap midfielders. Oh, okay, yes, Fernandinho is not the best cheap midfielder in the game, but he's steadily picking up 3 points, and it's a point more than your boy Carroll picked up last week.
That's true.
But when you've got people like Gross who are raking in the points, and Decore, yes, he's not played well this week, but he has been scoring well. Yeah, I do like the idea of having the likes of Coutinho in there. Coutinho's a great differential, and obviously, like the game at the weekend, he played like he's in the shop window. He played like he wanted to leave Liverpool and wants that signature on a piece of Barcelona paper. He is an option, but my problem with Liverpool is that they're all rotation risks. Obviously, Mane's coming back in the fold, which probably is, alongside Salah, your option for Liverpool in midfield. I don't like the look of anyone really in midfield for Arsenal. Yeah, Ramsey's a cheap option, but he's not really the guy that's consistent enough for fantasy managers. Chelsea. Are there any cheap midfield options for Chelsea? I'm not seeing any. Kante's obviously 5 mil, but he's not scoring every week, is he? He's, a CDM at Chelsea. Look, the best way to go is to be looking at people like Gross, who are cheap options and are attacking for the lower clubs in the league.
Yeah, he's not going to be involved in 5-0s though, is he? And I think that's why I'm seeing these differentials coming out. Chelsea going to Stoke winning 4-0. Pedro, low ownership. I'm probably thinking this way because of where I am in the league position, I suppose. I think I'm 1.7 million in the world or something like that at the end of last game week. So, and that's my best rank to this point, So I'm now looking at how on earth am I going to get up that league? And I think these emerging differentials in midfield are worthy. I'll be interested to see what people's views are on them. Coutinho in particular, I see what you're saying, Dooley, about him in the shop window. He just looks like a boy that loves football at the end of the day. And I think he's just a class act. He's involved in everything. Mane's back next week. And, I think that could, they potentially have got the options, the abilities to hit 3s, 4s and 5s. You made a really good point regarding the no one safe, because last year Firmino was almost safe of rotation and he never got pulled off. He always seemed to see 90 out. And he's pulling them off at 65 minutes. I was flabbergasted.
I think that's the biggest worry for Firmino owners, that he's always been Klopp's man. He's always played the minutes. He never ever gets dragged off, and he didn't play that well. He had one chance in the first half, but I thought he was pretty poor. I can see why you're looking to possibly upgrade him. But what's your thoughts on my striker comments with the top 3 and all that? That I'm not keen on it. You're obviously happy to go in with the Morata, Kane, Aguero in the future possibly.
I think the biggest thing that I would weigh up when I look at all of the striker options are, who am I going to bring in a budget bracket? Okay, if you're gonna go 2 big hitters, I want someone in a budget bracket. I tried the Chicharito route, and okay, he did actually pop up with a goal last week, which is typical. It always happens when you take someone out. They've not even looked like hitting a barn door. Pops up with a nice little finish, but I'm not seeing, you've got King in there at 7 mil, and obviously you're quite happy with that. I'm not seeing one, to be honest. The first one, the cheapest striker that I'm currently willing to have in my side is Jamie Vardy at 8.5, or now he's 8.6.
Do you not think, I know you've been burnt a little bit on Hernandez now, but with those fixtures coming up, he's looking very worthy now, isn't he? He is. Well, I can see you a little bit hurt by him, but
but the crazy thing is, Fletch, like you've watched the last few games the same way I have. He's barely been in the box for the last 3 games. He's been flitting around out in attacking left wing positions, then dropping in deep and stuff like that to accommodate obviously the direct play with Carroll in the middle. And then it seemed like he was popping up in the box a lot more. If I know that Chicharito is buzzing around that box for 90 minutes. He is really, really worthy at the price because he will be getting returns. I've just literally taken him out. So am I going to reverse the transfer and bring him straight back in? Obviously not. I think I've got to move on to something else now.
I think now Antonio's hamstring or he's injured. I think Carroll's now a viable option because he should start now. Possibly Hernandez coming back, playing one of the positions behind. I would think Carroll up top at 5'9". I think he's those West Ham features are really nice.
You might hit on a good one. Well, would you be willing to bench 5.9 million? That would be my question mark. So you're basically committing to playing Carroll week in, week out if you're not willing to bench him. And you wouldn't normally bench a £6 million player, would you? So that's worrying me about West Ham as well, because I've seen so many different West Hams this year. I've seen them be absolutely awful. I've seen them be robust. I've seen them be, quite positive and moving forward. I think he's got options up there with Ayew, Arnautovic. Someone could emerge as a consistent option from West Ham, but at the moment, in general, I just want to stay away from West Ham, to be honest. So to answer your original question about the big hitters, I feel like the lack of budget options that I would consider is forcing my trail of thought down the route of, I've got to replace Firmino. That is my headache currently. I'm not going to downgrade him. There's no one I want. Vardy, like for like, price-wise, is the only other route I could go other than bringing in a Morata and Lacazette. And then I go into the 3 big hitters myself if I do bring one of them in. So I don't think you can ignore what happened last week. This season, we have got the biggest variety of top quality strikers in the Premier League, I believe. There's going to be more players than any other season hit 18 goals and more, in my opinion. I think we could see 8 people do that. There's 5 or 6 really, really big hitting options, and none of them are cheap. So I think this season might be different, Fletchy, to be fair. I think we could be seeing a trend here of needing to accommodate 3 big hitting strikers, because I don't think your Josh King punt is going to survive many weeks, to be honest. I predict you're playing a wild card. You're not having
no, you're right. I just think, I've got De Gea, I've got Koscielny, I've got Davis, I've got, Yoshida. I'm looking to, change out for someone else of a similar price. I've got Trippier. Okay, he's not looking great, but I can change him for someone of the same sort of price. You can build yourself a really nice squad. Look at De Gea, 5 clean sheets in 6. That's real consistent points. He got bonus this week as well. That extra million that you can have instead of having a fodder keeper, it's really working out for me at the moment. I just think just doesn't leave you a lot with those 3 big hitters. If these strikers carry on the rate they're going, then maybe I'll change my tactic. But right now, I think it's all about a third cheaper striker, and it just leaves your squad much healthier, I think. Because looking around at sides, I just think people's benches and defensive options, I just think people are struggling.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. It definitely leaves you in a position where you're less flexible to react to things, doesn't it? Like if you've got money distributed around your squad, you can jump on a midfielder that's just firing all of a sudden. If Mane comes back from his suspension and just start banging in braces every week, you can react if you've got, an Ali or whatever to move it around. Yeah. I don't have him. And I see what you're saying. Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. I think the other problem is that when you have 3 big hitters, you then give yourself a captaining headache every week as well. And quite a lot of people will be getting it wrong because you actually choose between 3 big hitting forwards and you'll be kicking yourself potentially a lot of weeks because you could be getting it wrong. I mean...
So, when Kane plays Bournemouth, Aguero's at home also, isn't he? That's in 2 weeks' time. So that's a prime example. Kane at Bournemouth, who he flopped against Swansea, and you've got Aguero at home to Stoke. Prime example. Yeah.
Obviously, I've got the nightmare of the triple captain. Triple captained him last season, and Stoke was in that double game week where it was 0-0, I believe. So I don't know. You've probably used an example there that I probably wouldn't touch that again, to be honest. But I can see what you're saying. Yeah, you definitely give yourself a headache. And again, I brought up a point last week that is it now viable to start really looking at these big hitting captains away from home? Arguably, you would not touch Kane at home with a barge pole, would you? In terms of a captain shout, how can you trust Kane at home at the moment until you start seeing something, until you start seeing goals? So actually, Kane away from home, probably is a standout option. I was worried that City were going to, struggle to break down Palace. It actually came through and came to the good. One thing that you mentioned, Fletch, and the point that I wanted to move on to, and I'll ask the question to Dooley, is obviously you've touched on these consistent returns that you're getting, defender-wise. United, 5 clean sheets out of 6?
Yeah.
It's looking vital, potentially, to have at least one United defensive cover. And Dooley, do you think people are now going to start looking at investing in the defence a little bit more because of all these 6s that are popping up? And it seems like, I haven't got the stats, but it seems like there's more at this point of the season than I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, I think I was actually on the way to work this morning. I was thinking about clean sheets and how many there's been from the sort of big club defenders this year, and it has been an awful lot of clean sheets about. I remember last year I was struggling for clean sheets in fantasy. I couldn't find a clean sheet anywhere. But this season, I think it's United 5 clean sheets. Is it City 4 clean sheets? Chelsea 3 or 4 clean sheets. Look, you have to be looking at these expensive defenders. it's worth a goal a game if your defenders are picking up 6 points per game. I remember 2 weeks ago I was talking about how Valencia, Alonso, and Kolasinac had all got clean sheets. That's a huge amount of points that you could be picking up if you're selecting the right defenders. I really don't think that you can skimp on defenders this season because other than the big 6 clubs, there's no clean sheets to be had anywhere unless you've got 2 sort of mid-table teams playing each other that week. I can't really see many clubs keeping a clean sheet. But look, last game week there was a lot of clean sheets around, but that's largely due to the fact that the big boys in the league, none of them were playing each other, and that doesn't happen again until December. I think all the way up until December, there's a big boy playing a big boy.
There's certainly fixture shifts for United. I know that. I'm looking at shipping Yoshida this week, and I'm looking at maybe freeing up some money, but I couldn't see one 4.5 defender I wanted.
Southampton have kept 3 clean sheets though.
Yeah, possibly I might consider a Yoshida to Cedric because I'm worried about Van Dijk coming back in and I want someone more nailed. I do like Cresswell at the price, but anyone below 5, I'm not seeing anyone. I
was actually looking at that, Fletchy, because the downgrade from Alonso, what do you think about they've not kept the clean sheet so far this season, but Everton, with these right-back boys, potentially a Holgate, potentially a Martina, 4-3 and 4-4, it's very cheap.
Not for me. I know the young Kenny came on for Martina. He
did well.
He looked pretty lively. We just got some team news coming in actually for the Champions League games. Just quickly, he's playing obviously Salah, Mane, Firmino. He's playing Coutinho in the free with Henderson and Chan, and he's playing City Jesus with Aguero up top. And Sane keeps his place. Silva, De Bruyne. So all the big hitters really. No rest for anyone, which is a little bit worrying for FPL, I'd say. Yeah. I see what you're saying. I think, I had this gut feeling that there's going to be an injury as well midweek. And I think I've just got a feeling someone's going to get burnt with an early transfer. With obviously the City-Chelsea game, obviously no one's going to get rested for that game. For the following home game, yes, some owners are going to get burnt, I think.
I do think that Aguero is due to be rested soon. I think obviously his
Are you off to bed, Dooley?
Looking
very dark in there.
What's going on here? Turn the light on. Put some money in the meter.
You want to start paying that electric bill, mate, did you?
Yeah. I know, right? Times are tough.
See if Rooney will lend you a $5.
But yeah, I can't remember what I was talking about now. Sorry.
I tell you what, I want to move on. Fantasy Football Weekly League. Obviously, I mentioned it earlier. 2 teams scored 93 points and produced the top score, which is a phenomenal score, to be fair, in a single game week. Anyone getting anywhere towards 100 points is really, really respectable. Glenn White, 93 points. He had an Aspilicueta at the back. Lovely little haul. 14 points. And he also captained Morata. So I don't know if he's a Chelsea fan, but, it paid off for him big style, that's for sure. And the other guy hitting 93 point, Dick's Dream Boys. I actually spoke to him before the game week. He told me he was going Kun captain, as the deadline was being closed, basically. Paid off for him. And he has a heavy hit in front 3 with Morata, Kane, and Aguero. So I would assume he was physically shaking at the end of that Chelsea game. Looking at the points of his front line, it's impressive. He's moved up now into 6th place in Fantasy Football Weekly. So fair play to both of them boys. Top of Fantasy Football Weekly, unfortunately, is Fletchy's winners. You've hung on to it by the skin of your teeth. You're 1 point ahead, basically. So, top's top at the end of the day, and you're still sitting pretty. Dooley, because of your Arsenal recovery, I would put it down to. You've actually stayed above me, because I know Sunday night I was above you, weren't I? And I I was licking my lips, thinking, here we go. Finally, I can cheer, but it wasn't to be. Your Arsenal boys kept you above me. You're in 14th place, and I'm sat in a position of 22. So still a lot of work to do for these Tomos Galacticos, that's for sure. Fletcher, you look like you want to say something.
No, I was just going to say, I think Dooleys in line for a Conjuring 3 role at the moment.
No, you don't comment on
that. It's awesome. I'd like to say to...
the average this week is what? Something like 50-something points is the average, and I'm just short of that once again. Okay, I've not had a great week, but look, if I'm just shy of average, having had a dreadful week, I'm not going to be complaining.
It's certainly a big week for these Dooley boys, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to react. That's for sure. I take it you going Lacquer captain.
I think everybody that owns Lacazette is going to go captain this week, aren't they? I think you've absolutely lost the plot if you're not going Lacazette captain against that Palace side.
Well, they're playing Brighton, so.
So I assume you're going Lukaku then, yeah?
Sorry, Lukaku, yeah.
Oh, you're going? Oh, right, yeah.
Sorry, not Lacazette. I'm losing the plot here. It's been a tough game week. I substituted match of the day for the coronation. I'm depressed, honestly. It's been a tough game week, but no, it would be Lukaku captain without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if you've got Lukaku and Lacazette in place this week, you should be rising.
Well, and Vardy's there now, so I'm more than happy with my front three going into the next game week.
Nice, Tomo. What's your plans captain wise, Kane?
Currently, Harry Kane. I think the only thing that could
that'll be
away from Kane this week.
7 weeks running.
Braces. No, it won't be, mate, because I captain Kane, didn't I, this week? So Kun. I've got Kane 5 weeks. Kun the week just gone, and I would tend to be back on Kane. So 6 out of 7. He's produced, 2 times away from home. He's away from home again. So assuming I don't take a hit to bring in Lukaku, which I'm going to ponder, to be honest, right up until the deadline.
Really?
I think so. I'm going to wait and see what happens. Obviously, Champions League and see what the score is. But my gut feeling currently is telling me no moves. Kane captain, and then ponder 2 moves over the international break is what I would like to do. And you've obviously mentioned you're going to go Lukaku captain. I know you've got 2 free, haven't you? So what are you doing with them?
I'm looking at a defensive move only. Probably Yoshida. I'm looking at Cresswell. The only cheap defender I looked at was Glenn Johnson. Now, I know they just shipped 4, but he's 4-3. I think he's going to be nailed in that right back or right wing back position. I like Johnson. I like him a lot.
Are you bringing him in for his clean sheet potential? Because they're not looking all that solid. I know they've got Zuma coming back in there, but are you just going on the fixtures, are you, basically?
I think he's a decent option at the price. I think once they get, Zuma, Shawcross and Vimmer back, I think Glenn Johnson at 4-3 is fine. To free up a bit of cash.
You can't go wrong at that price.
I think, Peters is 5 mil and Johnson's 4-3. It just doesn't add up, in my opinion. But I probably won't make that move yet. I just think, I think he's a nice price, 4-3, Johnson. Do you think he's nailed or not?
Yeah, he's nailed. But that Stoke side are just looking shaky, and he's not, and he never gets attacking returns anymore because he's too old to get forward. So to be honest, it's a bit of a what's your best case scenario? You're praying for a clean sheet, basically. They can easily not get.
Stoke do keep clean sheets. They're not now, but eventually they will. They will do.
Listen, everything else you've been doing has been turned into gold. So I'd assume Stoke are now going to go on a run of about four games back to back where they don't concede a goal. I'm sure the way your season's been going. And obviously Lukaku captain then. So you might have just mentioned it. I missed it. But you're going to roll 1 transfer, so you've still got 2.
Yeah, I think it's nice to have 2 free after international break. And then if I did want to do a little bit of surgery on the side, then. I can make 3 moves for a -4. Haven't minus yet this season, so I'd maybe quite like to keep that up. But I think 2 moves going into international break will be really nice. If if Lukaku produces for me, it could be a really nice start to the season.
And we hope he doesn't. Fair play then, fair play. Okay, boys. Well, let's sign off tonight. Dooley, go and stick a quid in the electric. And we'll see you next game week. Good luck, everybody, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter, FF Weekly. Cheers.
Cheers, boys. Good night. Nice one.